If you're a man over 60, healthy, active, and still deeply in love with your partner, but at night your desire just disappears, I need you to hear this before you blame yourself. Because what you're experiencing is not a failure. It's not low testosterone, and it's not something medication fixes. In fact, most men don't realize what's actually happening inside their nervous system, and once you understand it, everything changes. I'm Dr. Mia Carter, and this is True Wellness Network. And today, we're talking about something most men your age experience, but almost nobody explains honestly. I've been having this exact conversation with men for over 2 decades now, usually in a quiet moment at the end of an appointment, when they finally ask the question they've been carrying alone. The man will clear his throat, look down, and say something like, "Doc, I don't know what's wrong with me. I love my wife. I'm attracted to her. But when it comes to nighttime, I just don't feel it the way I used to. Am I broken?" And the shame in that moment is something you can almost touch. If that sounds familiar, I want you to take a breath, because what I'm about to share with you might completely change how you see yourself. This isn't about failure, it's not about losing who you are, and it's definitely not something you have to carry alone. So today, I want to explain why this happens, and why it's far more normal than you've been led to believe. Why nighttime desire feels different as you get older, even when you're healthy, active, and still very much yourself. This isn't a performance talk. It's about understanding what's actually happening inside your body and your mind, so you can stop blaming yourself for something that's deeply, deeply normal. Let me start with Richard. He's 72, walks 3 miles a day, volunteers at his church, sharp as a tack. He came to see me because he was convinced something was medically wrong. He said, "I used to think about my wife all the time. Now, even when we have time together, I feel nothing, like the engine won't start." He was embarrassed. He thought maybe his testosterone had crashed, or that he needed medication, or worse, that he'd stopped loving her. But here's what I found. His testosterone was fine. His cardiovascular health was good. There was no physical disease. What Richard didn't understand was that his body hadn't broken down. It had changed the way it responds to the world, and that's a completely different thing. So, let's talk about what's really going on. When you're younger, desire often feels automatic. It just happens. Your body responds quickly to thoughts, to touch, to opportunity. But as you age, your nervous system shifts. It becomes less reactive to spontaneous triggers and more dependent on the right conditions. Think of it like this. A young man's body is like a light switch. Flip it, and the light comes on. An older man's body is more like a dimmer switch. It needs the right setting, the right atmosphere, the right mental and physical state. It's not broken, it's just more selective. And nighttime is actually one of the hardest times for this to align. Let me explain why. By the end of the day, your cortisol, the stress hormone that keeps you alert, starts to drop. Your body is winding down. Your nervous system is shifting into rest mode. If you've had a long day, dealt with worry, physical discomfort, or even just mental fatigue, your brain is not primed for intimacy. It's primed for sleep, and your body follows that lead. On top of that, many men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s are managing medications. Blood pressure pills, statins, antidepressants. These can all subtly affect your nervous system's ability to respond, especially at night when your energy is already low. It's not that the desire is gone. It's that your body is prioritizing rest and recovery over everything else. Now here's the part that I think gets misunderstood the most. A lot of men confuse emotional closeness with physical drive. You can absolutely love your partner, feel attracted to her, want to be close to her, and still not feel that nighttime urge. And that gap, that difference between what you feel emotionally and what your body does physically, that's where the shame lives. Because you think, if I really loved her, my body would respond. But that's not how it works. Let me tell you about Tom, 67, married 43 years. He told me he felt like he was letting his wife down because he didn't initiate anymore. He said, "I see her and I think she's beautiful, but my body doesn't react like it used to. So I just avoid it. I don't want her to think I don't want her." And his wife, when I spoke to her separately, she said the same thing. She thought he wasn't attracted to her anymore, Neither of them understood that his body wasn't rejecting her, it was just responding differently to the time of day, to fatigue, to the natural rhythm of aging. If you've ever avoided intimacy just to avoid disappointing someone you love, stay with me, because the most important part is coming next. Here's what I told Tom, and what I want you to hear. Desire in older men is often responsive, not spontaneous. That means it doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It builds in response to connection, to touch, to feeling safe and relaxed. It needs a foundation. If you're stressed, tired, or mentally preoccupied, that foundation isn't there. And no amount of willpower can force your nervous system to override that. There's also the hormonal piece. Yes, testosterone does decline with age, but for most men, it doesn't drop to a level that eliminates desire completely. What it does is slow the intensity and the frequency. You might not think about intimacy as often. You might not feel that physical urgency. But that doesn't mean the capacity is gone. It just means your body needs more intentional conditions to access it. And then there's the mental side. A lot of men carry performance anxiety without even realizing it. You remember how things used to be. You compare yourself to your younger self. And every time your body doesn't respond the way you expect, it reinforces this idea that something is wrong. That creates a loop. Anxiety suppresses desire. Lack of desire creates more anxiety. And before you know it, you're avoiding intimacy altogether. Not because you don't want it, but because you're afraid of the disappointment. I had a patient named David, 74, who told me he stopped trying because he didn't want to embarrass himself. He said, "I'd rather she think I'm not interested than know I can't perform." And I looked at him and said, "David, you're solving a problem that doesn't exist the way you think it does." Because his wife didn't need him to perform like he was 40. She wanted to feel close to him. She wanted to know he still saw her. And he was so focused on what his body wasn't doing that he missed what she actually needed. So what does this mean for you? It means if you're lying in bed at night feeling nothing, even though you love your partner, even though you're healthy, even though everything should be fine, you're not broken, you're not failing, your body is doing exactly what an aging nervous system does. It's conserving energy, it's prioritizing rest, it's requiring more than just opportunity to feel desire. And here's the hopeful part. Once you understand that, you can start working with your body instead of against it. You can pay attention to when you do feel more energy. For a lot of men, that's earlier in the day, mornings, mid-afternoon. You can create space for intimacy that doesn't happen at 10 o'clock at night when you're exhausted. You can talk to your partner about what you're experiencing, not as a failure, but as a change that you're navigating together. You can also look at the practical things. Are you managing stress? Are you moving your body regularly? Are you getting decent sleep? Are your medications being reviewed? All of these affect your nervous system's ability to respond. And sometimes, small adjustments make a real difference. But most importantly, you can let go of the idea that nighttime drive is the measure of your vitality, or your love, or your manhood. It's not. It's one small piece of a much larger picture. And the fact that it's changed doesn't mean you've lost yourself. It means you're in a different season. And that season has its own rhythms, its own needs, its own kind of closeness. I want you to hear this clearly. You are not alone in this. The men I see every week, successful, active, loving men, are experiencing the exact same thing. And the ones who do best are the ones who stop fighting it and start understanding it, who talk openly, who adjust expectations, who find new ways to connect that don't depend on their body performing on command. If this resonated with you, I'd love for you to take a moment and hit that like button. Subscribe to True Wellness Network if you haven't already, because we're going to keep talking about these things that matter, the things you can't always ask your doctor in a 5-minute visit, and leave a comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It helps me know I'm reaching the men who need to hear this. You're not broken. You're not less than. You're just navigating a change that nobody prepared you for. And now, you know a little more. That's where healing starts. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.